It is time to measure the panic meter when it comes to our New York Mets best free agent. Plus, we get an update in regard to Tatsuya Mai, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. Where do they stand? Next on Metcast. What's going on, Mets fans? Welcome back to another off-season edition of Metcast. As always, I am Rand. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you smash that like button, turn those notifications on so you never miss any of the New York Mets content that you need to know. Plus, be sure to become a member. Click the link in the description. Join our ever-growing community of members where you're guaranteed to hear your voice live on our live streams and be the first ones to get your input heard. With that said, the panic meter is starting to jump. Obviously, the winter meetings is just a couple of days away. We're hearing rumors about Pete Alonso and his potential going to Boston, Edwin Diaz, potentially the Dodgers, and Toronto being involved. The folks over at SNY just did a panic meter segment. We're going to give you our rankings and react to theirs. Let's give it a look.
It's time for the panic meter with two guys who don't really panic much, right, Herb? You try to keep it cool and
our boy John Harper, shout out to John. He was on just a couple of days ago. I'll be sure to link that video at the end of this video in the final 20 seconds. So be sure to give it a look because he gave us some tremendous insight.
calm as much as possible. Hart, but 0 to 10, what's your panic meter on the Mets not re-signing Pete Alonso?
I would put it at 5, Chelsea, because I believe that this interest from the Red Sox is real, JJ, and that's all it takes. It doesn't sound like might be a lot of teams involved, but the Red Sox are a big market team that can afford him, and it feels they need a spot. They need to fill that spot in the lineup there at first base. The GM Breslow talked about adding that middle of the order bat. Now maybe it could.
Let's be honest. The Red Sox are a Pete Alonso away from potentially winning a World Series. Adding them, they obviously got the pitching staff now. They added Sonny Gray. You have Garrett Crochet. You have the other guys in the lineup. They got out from underneath the Devers contract last year, so they probably have money to spend. I see where John says it's about 50. I'm a little higher than that, but I want to listen to what JJ's got to say.
There could be after Schwarber as well, but I think it's still going to be harder to pull Schwarber away from the Phillies than it is from the Mets. I don't know if the Mets are all in on him. Nobody knows if they're going to go all out to keep him or not. So I feel like 50-50. He's right at a 50-50 level for me right now.
You went 50-50. I put it at a 4 because I think it's 60-40 to whether or not Pete ends up coming back to this team because they're in such dire need of what he provides from a power standpoint. Like, I can't imagine what the Met lineup is going to look like as far as protecting Juan Soto if you take away.
I'll be honest with you guys. It's got to be higher. You lose Pete Alonso. Where is Juan Soto's protection coming from? You want to sell me on Kyle Schwarber? That's fine. I understand the rumors are out there, but listen, Pete Alonso is going to play first base for this team, probably on a part-time basis. I would say full-time in 2026 if he returns, probably going to part-time in 2027 into 2028, but he is the heart and soul of this franchise, the home run leader. And listen, I've been saying for a while, I don't think Alonso's going to be back, and that's not because I don't want Alonso back. You all know that I want Alonso back. It's just Boston's got deep pockets as well, and the Mets have other holes. They have first base. They have closer. They have the rest of the bullpen to fill out. They have to get a legitimate front-end starter, if not 2, plus a left fielder. And who knows who's playing center field right now? Are you really going into the season with Tyron Taylor? There's so many holes. Is Brett Baty guaranteed to play third base, which I think he is, but that could also be another question mark. So for me, the panic meter with Pete Alonso, for me, is probably at a 6.5 and rising because let's be honest. You could say Edwin Diaz coming into the offseason should be the priority, which I still think he should be because I'm not confident that Devin Williams is going to be able to close games for our team. But the addition of Devin Williams kind of maybe flipped it a little bit for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe you still think Diaz should be the number 1 priority.
The pop and the production and everything that Pete brings to the table, it's going to require a pretty amazing pivot from David Stearns. And I get the Red Sox interest. I do think it's real. They need a slugger. Who knows if they're going to re-sign Alex Bregman. But then the emotional attachment weighs in with Pete. The idea that he can go and be this lifelong Met, set all of these records as far as home runs are concerned. I don't know if that means anything to David Stearns. My gut is it might mean something to Steve Cohen. So instead of it being 50-50, I'll say by the emotional hinge, by that By that much, Chelsea.
Yeah.
60-40.
I'd like to hear it. They need him. They need him. I think it's just we don't know if they're going to go all out to keep him.
Definitely, we'll have to see. Switching gears to the
Who's the replacement? Mark Vientos? You've got to be kidding me with that. Mark Vientos cannot be the starting first baseman. And another guy who John Harper brought up on our live stream was the fact that they may use McNeil at. Oh my gosh. Imagine you're telling Juan Soto, hey, by the way, year 2, your protection is going to be maybe Mark Vientos or Jeff McNeil. Now, obviously, they could go out. If you lose Alonso, all of that money becomes available. Immediately, Kyle Tucker, Bellinger become bigger options for the Mets. Dare I say Fernando Tatis, or a trade aspect that we're not currently thinking of. You know, obviously, that could come into fruition. But look, that's a big gamble. And I'm going to tell you guys a rumor that got confirmed yesterday that I reported on our live stream just 2 nights ago, talking about Edwin Diaz and where his contract situation stands. And then John Heyman confirmed my reporting yesterday. We'll get to that right now.
bullpen. Harp, this one's for you. What's your panic meter on for the Mets not re-signing Edwin Diaz?
Yeah, I hate to say it, Chelsea, but I'm going to go 7. Just because, look, they got Devin Williams.
Wow.
They say they're still interested in Diaz, but I think Williams
That's like a 30% chance the Mets bring him back.
gives them a fallback. And knowing, you know, what we've come to know about Stearns is he loves value. He loves to show that he can get value, the most value in the market. And you're going to have to overpay for Diaz. Now you have a guy, Williams. If he's your closer, it's a really good contract for a closer. My issue there is Williams, we know he had some issues closing for the Yankees last year. I thought maybe it was more mental than anything. The pressure got to him, the expectations, all that. So you throw him back in that closer role with the Mets. Now he's got to follow Diaz. If Diaz is not there,
I agree, John.
It's a big
100%.
ask for him. So I think they need him again, but I don't know if they're going to go out and get him.
And speaking of Devin Williams, JJ, what should Mets fans' panic meters be on going into the season with Devin Williams?
Remember,
as their
JJ's
closer?
the
So I
Yankee
guess
fan.
it's up to me.
I know it's high.
Give me the perfect 10. Sorry, Met fans. It is a 10. If all of a sudden Devin
Sound the
Williams...
alarm.
Sound the alarm indeed. Let's acknowledge something, okay? The Yankees lost out on the American League East for 2 reasons. 1, they couldn't beat the Toronto Blue Jays. 2, Devin Williams yucked up 10 zillion games for him in so many big spots. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to fill the shoes of Edwin Diaz. You could not handle the pressure of pitching in the 9th inning for the New York.
And look, let's take our blue and orange goggles off, guys. That could be the point. I'm worried too. Now I'm not at a 10. I think, you know, maybe it's a little hyperbolic there, but I'm at like a 6. I got to see I got to see Williams do it. Got to see him do it. And I hope we don't have to. Bring back Diaz. That bridge, that 8-9 could be absolutely elite. We've seen Williams set up. He was fine at it. And then you also have Brooks Raley, you have Minter, you have guys in the back of that bullpen. And dare I say, you add one more big arm back there, you could have one of the best bullpens in all of baseball, something David Stearns tried to do last year and miserably failed. I would bring back Tyler Rogers. I would consider bringing back Gregory Soto. I know you have the 2 lefties, but Soto's throwing 100 miles an hour. How bad are the righties hitting against him? I got to go look at his splits before I say something because I might look like a fool right now. But bring back Rogers, bring back Diaz. All of a sudden, the back end of this bullpen looks big time difference. And don't forget, you still have guys like Brazaban down in AAA. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Ray, hold your horses. It's Brazaban. But if we put it in perspective, Brazaban had a pretty damn good first half. Everybody was just so overused. That's what it was. I mean, you have guys like Gregory Soto had 25 appearances in the last 2 months for the New York Mets. That is a lot. This starting pitching failed this team. Look, if you're going to tell me you're going to turn around and say, you know what, if we lose out on Diaz, we're going to spend that money on Amai and we're going to bring in Michael King and we're going to load up on starters, you could kind of sell me a little on that, but I'm not totally sold, and I've watched Diaz do it in New York, and he's been great at it. Bring back Sugar, in my opinion.
Yankees. Now you're going to take the trumpets away. You're going to put them in Los Angeles. You're going to put them in Toronto, wherever you're going to go and put them. And you're going to say, all right, big boy, you're our closer now. There's no safety net of Edwin Diaz. I like the Devin Williams signing if he's your setup man.
Yeah.
If he's the closer, I am not with this. Not one bit. So it is a 10, Chelsea.
Let me know what your guys' panic meter are on those 3 players. For me, I mean, you guys see where I'm at. I think it's higher on Alonso. I think there's probably flip 60-40 the other way. Diaz, I'm probably at about a 6. Listen, Toronto is willing to spend money. They spent money on Cease. It also depends on, is Edwin Diaz willing to take deferrals? That could be a big thing in regard to the New York Mets because, look, Williams deferred $5 million a year. And what I said earlier on the live stream with John, which I was just talking about, was I reported that multiple teams have 4-year offers out there for Edwin Diaz, and the first team to go 5 will most likely land him. And then John Heyman put it out there yesterday that the first team to get to 5 years for Edwin Diaz is most likely going to land the stud closer. But on to the next topic. Tatsuya Mai, SNY just broke this article down talking about the teams that are involved. And yes, the New York Mets are involved. Let's give it a look. Okay, so here we have it, the article from SNY. Mets and Yankees amongst most interested clubs in Tatsuya Mai and Michael King, a guy you guys all know I've been a fan of for a long time. I understand the injury history, but he is the first Nolan McLean. He could be dominant, especially at times a front-end starter. I would 100% be in on him without a doubt. Goes on to say, both New York clubs are searching for starting pitching in the offseason. The two players that they have reportedly strongly considered are Tatsuya Mai and Michael King. Remember, Michael King was a New York Yankee, part of that Juan Soto deal just 2 years ago. The Mets and Yankees are among the most interested in free agent righties, according to Mark Feinsand of MLB. Obviously, everybody knows Mark's very credible. This certainly doesn't come as a surprise, as both would present strong additions to either the club's rotations. Imai, who was posted by the NPB Cebu Lions this offseason, is coming off a spectacular campaign in which he pitched to a career best 1.92 ERA, 0.89 whip, which is absolutely insane, 163 innings. I will preface, as we all know, in Japan, they use a different ball, so sometimes there's a little bit of an adjustment period. His plus arsenal includes a mid-90s fastball, a splitter, a slider, and a cutter, kind of like Kodai Senga, but supposedly he sits a little bit higher, 96, 97, where pretty much Senga likes to sit 95, 96, so not too much different there. And one good thing about Amai is he's gotten progressively better every single year throughout his career. And I believe he's 27 right now. He has until January 2nd to sign, which we saw multiple reports earlier this offseason, just a couple weeks ago. And I believe last week, most teams expect him to sign sometime during the winter meetings next week. So be sure to have those notifications on, guys, because we'll be bringing you all the latest content in regard to that to sign with the club. According to recent reports from The Athletic, he is expected to visit with teams upon the end of next week's winter meetings. There you have it right there. Philly, Boston, and the Cubs are also believed to be interested as well. King was tremendous in 2024. I agree, because we have injuries in 2025. As he transitioned from the bullpen to a full-time starter, but he battled injuries for most of the last season and was limited to just 15 outings with the Padres, something we spoke about. He is like another Clay Holmes, another project like that, but it seemed to have worked. He dealt with a nerve injury in the throwing shoulder and also lost time due to a knee injury. The New York native and former Yankee has top of the rotation potential when healthy, but concerns over his durability could result in him landing a shorter-term deal this offseason. Listen, it's a David Stern special. Potentially 3 years, 4 years, $100 million. I think that's where he's going to land. King could potentially bet on himself with an eye on hitting the market again next winter, but there are several other clubs in the mix for his talent, including Orioles, Tigers, and Marlins. Now, you all know where I stand with Michael King. He would be my number one to get this offseason in regard to free agents. Maybe you go trade for a Joe Ryan and you get a Tatsuya Mai. And look, I know that the report was out there yesterday. The Mets are interested in Joe Ryan. The Twins are supposedly interested in getting a Jonah Tung. But if you could get Tatsuya Mai and Michael King, you're not giving up any prospects there. And that's kind of where I could see David Stearns going. We know David Stearns loves his prospects, and not giving up on pitching talent, that would be the big thing. But guys, thanks so much for sticking around. Make sure you have those notifications on. Consider becoming a member. The link is in the description below. I will put the John Harper video on the screen right now. If you didn't get to it, make sure you get to it now. He gave some tremendous insight as to where the New York Mets stand. As always, let's go Mets. God bless.